What's up, guys, and welcome back to the channel. Obviously, you guys can see we have a situation here. This all does not look normal. What we're doing today is the valve springs and push rods. We also have a PPE fuel rail plug. This just solves the fuel rail plug issues in this truck. They fail over time, or they don't give you full performance because they let pressure out. So when I put the intake horn on, I didn't put a fuel rail plug in it. So now that the intake horn has to come off for what we're doing today, I'm gonna put a fuel rail plug in, and I got this one from PPE. As you can see, valve springs and the push rods right here. These are 103-pound valve springs from Hamilton Cams. A lot of companies do make this setup here, valve springs and push rods. Honestly, a long time ago, I was gonna do the fleece ones, the fleece valve springs, the fleece push rods, the whole fleece ordeal in there. I was gonna do all that, but what it comes down to at the end of the day is that these, I think, are the biggest ones on the market. These are 12 millimeter. I can't really speak for the fleece because I don't know. They could be 12 millimeter as well. I don't know. But all I know is Manton makes two sizes of push rods, and 12 millimeter actually happens to be slightly larger than Manton's largest size, from what I have found. So that plus Hamilton is tried and true. So we decided to go with Hamilton for both the push rods and the valve springs. Like I said, 103-pound. We also got the Hamilton keepers here. These are required if you're going over 4,500 RPM, but they can be used with any, or can be used in conjunction with any valve springs. We also picked up this is from Hamilton as well. This is the valve spring compressor tool. It's literally worth it when you're doing a job like this. There's no purpose in making your own tool. Like 60, 70 bucks. You could probably find a cheaper one and get the job done. But you're gonna want this. You're gonna want this. One other tool that we picked up was an engine barring tool for this Cummins. Like I said, they're available online, Amazon. I honestly think PPE even makes one, to be honest with you. But it's an engine barring tool. Looks like this. It's quite large, solid, all the above. But what that's gonna do is gonna allow us to get this motor to top dead center, so we can work on each cylinder, do the valve lash, and do each valve spring and all that correctly without dropping a valve into the motor, because that cylinder needs to be at top dead center so it holds the valves in while you remove the springs. I'm gonna show you how to find top dead center really quick. It's gonna be a little bit easier on this truck with like a 14-inch lift on it, but get underneath it. Hope you guys can see that it says top dead center. Now, if you look to the left here a little bit, look at the teeth on the gear there. There's a space in between them. So if you're looking for top dead center, it's around there. Now, as you can see, there's not much room in there to get like a socket on that crank bolt or whatever and turn the engine over. So that's what the engine barring tool is for. You can see those two bolts right there on the back of the transmission, or the front of it. I don't know whatever you want to whatever way you want to look at it. You take that inspection cover off, you can put the barring tool in there and turn it all over 10 times easier, because look at all that space. Also, guys, I don't know how this happened, but at some point we lost an alternator bolt. So I've been riding on like one alternator bolt for the longest time. Belt's still attached. Super surprised, but I got a temporary bolt, and I'm gonna get another OEM alternator bolt ordered so that I can operate in the correct position. I also need a new air filter. Don't worry about that. I got one coming. So obviously, valve springs, they are located in your head, so we need to start by getting all of this off. The injectors actually have to come out. So all of our feed lines, that's why the intake horn has to come out, and that's why we can do our fuel rail plug as well, because the intake horn needs to come out, and all of the injector lines need to come out, and then the injectors can pop out along with the feed tubes. So we could put the valve spring compressor tool in there and take care of all of this. Okay, so we got a good chunk of this disassembled. The only thing left in there is really the injectors that would be holding us up. But to get the injectors out, we got to take the feed lines out. And to take the feed lines out, well, I could take the back ones out, but these front two, this intake horn's holding us up. And this Banks intake horn, the last bolt to bolt this in is actually through this hole inside of it, and it bolts through there. And I don't know what I used last time, but my 6mm Allen definitely does not fit. So I'm gonna have to go get some like T-handles or something to get that out. I forget how I even screwed that thing down back in the day, but I definitely don't have whatever tool I had then now. So I'm gonna have to go get that, but we're pretty much at that point right now. But once the intake horn comes off, I'm actually gonna do some cleaning in here. I want to get that tube powder coated because when I put the Banks intercooler on this truck, when I put it on this truck, it comes with a different set of boost tubes if you're going the factory intercooler versus the Banks intercooler to factory or aftermarket intake horn. There's different sets of boost tubes, and I had to change this one. This one's pretty close. It's probably a little different, but that one fits fine, and I had to switch that one out. So probably gonna powder coat that. And I also want to get the rocker. I also want to get the rocker box cleaned up and powder coated purple as well, because that would look sweet going back together in here. So gonna do all that while we're in process here. It actually sucks. If you're gonna like build a motor, you might as well do it all at the same time. Like when I did the head studs, because we were putting the compounds on, I was already at this, at this stage, literally right here, how it's sat to put those ARP 625s in, and thinking about it, that would have been perfect to do injectors, the push rods, the valve springs, and then you might as well, if you went over 30 overs, really, upgrade the CP3. It's like the perfect position to do it all at once. So it's like I wish I could have planned this out, because I could have literally done the compounds, the valve springs, the push rods, the injectors, the CP3, done it all at the same time, and it would have made life so much simpler. Because if I want to do the injectors down the road, I'm gonna have to do all of this literally again to break those lines, get the tubes out, get the injectors out, put them in. But you know what, maybe we'll keep them stock for a minute in here, but down the road, if we have to, we have to. It's really not that difficult to get here. It's just difficult because of how I need to achieve working on something so large. I'm gonna go get that either a T-handle or something to get that intake horn out, and then I guess we'll come back and finish this thing tomorrow. Okay, so I picked these up yesterday hoping it would solve our issue, but this should be a long enough 6mm to get through that intake horn. We can take that intake horn off and get all of our fuel lines off, our injectors out, feed tubes out, all of that now. Okay, so we've made a huge dent in this. Obviously, the intake horn's off, all the injection lines are out, the injector feed tubes are out. I've seen a lot of people struggle with that. I literally just screwed the feed line back on and then just like used my hand to slide it out. That seemed to work very well all the way across. I didn't even have to take that bracket off the back of the engine. Everything came out super easy. Nothing was really, I guess, too difficult. It definitely is a reach to get back there and kind of mess with some of this on the back two cylinders, but overall not awful. You're gonna need something stubby back there, so a combination of this. I had a 24 mil that was angled that helped me break that last one loose. Nothing too crazy. Everything kind of came out simple, but like I said, this truck has 47,000 miles on it, and if your truck has 247,000 miles on it, things may be a lot different. As you can see here, everything's pretty much open, ready to go. I put the injector feed tube hold down nuts back in so we didn't lose them, drop them, do whatever. As you can see, here's our fuel rail plug all ready to come out in here. You can do cylinders that add up to 7 at the same time. So when we get cylinder 1 to top dead center, unfortunately the first cylinder, the easiest, pairs with the worst cylinder all the way in the back there. So we're gonna do 1 and 6, 2 and 5, and 3 and 4, so we don't drop a valve. We don't want to do that because that'll just turn this into a project we don't want to deal with. So 2 cylinders at a time, and we'll knock out all 24 of these valve springs. Okay, so we're done with cylinder 1 and cylinder 6. Now, I'm going to put something on the screen here and I'll show you that when we got the motor to TDC, I barred it over and got it at TDC, you could see the clear difference between cylinder 6 and 1 to the rest of them. You can see the piston through the injector hole on cylinder 6 and cylinder 1 in that video. That means it's at top dead center. That means you won't lose your valves. Now, we're going to turn the engine over another third, and we're going to do 2 and 5, and then we'll turn over another third and do 3 and 4, and then we'll turn it over another third, and that should bring us back up to top dead center. We can re-put this all back together, and then we'll either be on the first or second top dead center, and we could do our valve lash, and we'll figure it out from there. But like I said, for you who are like worried about it, people say stick stuff in the hole and you can watch. Really, once it's at TDC, I just put a flashlight in the hole. You could do that. Now that you see that the pistons are there, you can mark something, mark a tool, so you can stick it down the other holes, and you know exactly when each cylinder is at the top if you wish. So we're gonna turn this over a little more and finish the rest of the springs. just completed all 24 valve springs. Those are good to go. We got the motor cranked all the way back over to top dead center, so cylinders 1 and 6 are at the top. What we're going to do now is start reassembling the engine. We're actually going to start here with the push rods. May even throw in this fuel valve real quick. So there's this thing on the internet about the copper washers on the injectors. Some people throw them back in just like that when you're doing valve springs. Some people are like, you're supposed to install new copper washers every time the injector comes out. It's one of those things where it's like, will it work? Will it not work? Will it work? Will it not work? I don't know. I really don't know, and I don't feel like finding out, to be honest. So I'm gonna order new copper washers in the morning, but see, this is what goes through my head. It's like, what if these would seal up, but the new washers would not? You know what I'm saying? So it's like one of those games where you're like, huh. But I feel like if we put new ones in there, they should crush down, seal up, and we shouldn't have any issues. We probably maybe wouldn't have any issues with these, but we're just not gonna take that risk. But yeah, we're gonna start with these push rods here. Again, these are the Hamilton extreme duty or heavy, whatever they call them, but they're 12mm push rods. These things are gigantic. Look at that. Shouldn't have any bending issues with these. Here's the difference, guys. Look at that. That is incredible. These honestly, like, from moving these around the shop, waiting to put them in, and then like now feeling these, I'm like, that actually sucks. I can't believe this operates that. So this is actually gonna be pretty cool, and probably would be a commendable upgrade for anybody, not if you were pushing horsepower, not just people pushing horsepower, because that's kind of silly. And I swear, every single one of these, I like throughout here, especially these bottom or these back ones. I swear I bent every single one of these, at least a little bit. It doesn't seem like even. It kind of feel like it dips there, definitely. Oh yeah, oh yeah. It's not. Look at that at the bottom. That's not even. I honestly feel like I bent almost all of these, at least a little bit. That's definitely not straight anymore, and that's probably why my valves were out of adjustment and the truck started more clacky, really. So we actually saved ourselves here from a huge failure by doing this. So this is kind of lucky we got to this when we did. Another thing I found researching this, that a lot of people have trouble with these back push rods for I don't know what reason. I kind of figured out an easy way if it does trouble you. There are 2 plugs in the firewall. Everyone kind of knows this. They're to get these back push rods out. Not the firewall, well, up here in the cowl. There's 2 plugs. You saw me take them out earlier. Easiest way to do this for the back ones is slide it along the fuel rail. Sorry, hold on. I'm gonna find the hole. Slide it along the fuel rail and then into the hole in the cowl, and then it just literally goes right in. That's kind of the easiest way to do so, or I've found at least. But yeah, then it goes right in the hole. Okay, so it's the next day here. I got the injector O-rings in, we got the gaskets and whatever else, and the one to replace the intake horn gasket because that one was just obliterated. We got a brand new one for that. All the gaskets we need to replace. We got the rocker box in the oven right now. We're actually pre-baking it because it was just soaked in oil forever. But we got the rocker box in the oven over here.
Can I turn it on yet?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then in here we have my driver's side boost tube. And because it's been so many miles since I did these head studs in this compound kit, Let me get this out of here. Torque sequence again. I think it's like somewhere in here, but we're gonna come through and 14 millimeter 12 point. We're gonna retorque all of the head studs. They are, even though they are 625s, there's a lot of people who will do head studs and then get the engine hot and then retorque them again. So we didn't do that, and I just figured it while we're in here and I have the socket and the torque wrench, I might as well, because I don't want to come all the way back and do any of this just because something happened. So I might as well torque everything down, make sure everything's good to go before we get this fully assembled again. Studs 1 and 2 here, it should be good to go. We're just gonna double check. That one felt pretty tight. Ooh, little movement. I'm gonna be honest, there's a little movement. Okay, so we got all the valves. They should be lashed correctly. Now it's time to put this in our fuel rail before we put our intake horn back on. This is the, it's pretty much just a fuel plug with no spring in it. But it's just a good idea to swap this out for a fully solid plug, especially if you're in here. I just was kind of upset with myself. I didn't spend the 30-40 bucks on it before when I did the intake horn the first time, and I wasn't about to go through all that just to put this in. So now that it's out, we're gonna throw one in, and like I said, I got the PPE one, but there's a whole bunch of them out there. Alright guys, well, there it is, all put back together. A couple extra things powder coated. Ashley took care of it. They look fantastic. It all looks put together now underneath there on just instead of like leaving it out from last time. Literally just didn't fit in my oven last time, but now it does, so that's really nice to have both those things done. Hopefully we don't have to take this motor apart again, because if I build another motor or another engine, everything's happening at once. Literally every single upgrade possible I'm thinking about doing is going to happen at once, because I was literally that far last time when I was doing the turbos and the head stud. So I literally should have just did it all and not had to have like repeat, you know, the whole process. But yeah, so everything should be lashed right. It should be lashed right. Everything should be tight. Everything should be torqued. Let's fire this thing up and see if we did this correctly. But that's quiet. That purrs. That is a completely different truck. Like, holy crap.
That was quick.
Yeah, so like that shift, I wasn't trying to go like crazy hard like that, but when I shifted it, it was there. Wow. Alright guys, if this isn't more American, there's like so many fireworks going off over there. But that push rod and valve spring install, let me tell you, it definitely took a lot out of me. It was a lot of just repetitive tasks. However, the performance improvement just from doing that is like tenfold. The thing drives a million times better, and a little bit more fine tuning in the tuning, and this thing will be literally mint. I'm just like blown away, because starting it up, I feel like I've watched a couple valve lash videos where people are like, that really solved the issue, you know, we just did, that was it, and they're freaked out after the fact. And I'm kind of in the same boat right now. I'm like, I can't believe that actually did what I needed it to do this whole time. A couple barely bent push rods and throws everything off. Obviously that will, but like that and resetting all the lash on the valves, this thing is a whole new animal. The only thing left we have to do to get that noise back down is this transmission fluid. I've got 2 gallons of Hot Shots G56 transmission fluid. We're gonna throw in one of the next upcoming videos, see if we can bring that sound down. But for now, I'm definitely gonna go and enjoy this because I haven't in a long time. The truck, obviously, just from the, you know, even the smell, this thing is running 10 times better. It's cleaner, more efficient, the whole 9. Like this thing is crazy now, and I'm excited to see what else. And I'm really excited to see how this thing actually performs here shortly. But I'm just blown away, and I'm kind of just in that like that shock moment right now that really did that much for me.